Hello all and welcome. It's Barry here, founder of the Winning Mindset Warrior Teacher Creation Program. It's been an exciting couple of days and I wanted to share with you what has happened as well as some resources. In other words, let's play a game. It's become fairly obvious to me over the past months that these incredible things that are happening in regards to fighting wokeism, EDI, DEI, trans, queer, and all the other stuff that's going on. You see these court cases that are happening. The case of Sandy Peggy, the case of Godot. All of these cases that we are seeing going to court are in some way pushing back against this and doing so with a legal framework. It struck me, and in conversation with some of you over the last few days and with the warrior teachers, that there is something else that we can do that is not about the legal fight, nor the fight per se that a larger organization might undertake, but perhaps a fight that you as a parent can take. So I started this ridiculous conversation. I didn't think it was ridiculous in all reality. It turned out to be very fruitful by stating that I thought that films like The Exorcist, Fight Club, and Natural Born Killers should be something that children should watch. So I stuck that up to get people discussing the idea of where the lines are in terms of childhood and what their ability is to be able to learn from stuff, even if we deem it to be offensive and not for their age group. Now, that was interesting anyway, just as a discussion. But I also said in a quite provocative tweet that I thought it was time we weaponized the kids and stop farting around. And that also caused a bit of pushback because people didn't like the word weaponize. I can understand why. It's a particularly strong word. It's not necessarily something that we'd normally think about when talking about children, unless you're watching one of those great films like Who Would Kill a Child, where the children are actually the killers, right? So I thought, well, there's something here. People didn't like the word weaponize, but they did like the word protect. Funny that, isn't it? So I think that there's a way that we can use children so that we, or you as parents, can protect them. And I started discussing that. And a lady on Twitter, Miss Havisham, came up with a rather marvellous list that I started from. Now, this built on something that I did a while back. And I think it's time that we did the same thing, but for kids. So I'm going to take you through it. All right. First off, here we go. Woke bingo. So here we go. Right, this will be in a pack that you can download. The links will be available below or on my Substack, wherever the hell you're watching this. So, welcome to Woke Bingo, a game the whole organisation can play. Now, here's my challenge to you. This is the adult bit, right? So, as an adult, my challenge to you is to print off these 2 pages and to put it on your staff notice board when nobody's looking. Then photograph it, stick it on Twitter, and tag me in. Anybody going to do it? We'll see. So welcome to Woke Bingo, a game the whole organisation can play. Print out page 2 with the bingo card on it. Distribute to all present at whatever the event is. Meeting, lecture, conference, school lesson. Mark off the individual woke phrases each time used using the gate method, as you can see there. Shout woke at the top of your voice if all of them have at least 1 tally. Compare notes with other players post-event. Count up total number used, then post on social media the name of the event, who ran it, who chaired, and the total number of tally marks for the whole card, right? Mischief is what we will cause, because we are now at the point where disruption is the game. We need to disrupt these people. We need to cause trouble. That's what we need to do. And you as adults should be causing trouble, even if you do it anonymously. So print out this and put it on the notice board. I dare you. Right? See, Woody the Woke. He don't like it up him. And there he is with his social justice t-shirt. So this will have on it warrior teacher, merit, intelligence, talent, excellence. And then you've got the woke bingo card. Right? So, critical pedagogy, equity, false consciousness, critical consciousness, LGBTQI2+ variations, other ways of knowing, own truth. You get the idea, don't you? Because, bingo. Right? So that's that, which is fairly straightforward. And then I put at the bottom that I can be contacted on Twitter under my Twitter handle. So I thought this might be fun. So I hope that some of you will take this up. You can get the Woke Bingo cards in the link which I placed with this video. Stick it up in work. Do it when nobody's looking. Photograph it. Stick it on Twitter. That's my challenge to you. This could be fun, It could well be fun. Right, so now that I've talked about that, I want to take you through what I'm calling the Not My Future project. Okay, and what I've done is I've written a document that I hope will help parents to resist woke ideology in schools. Now, understand this. I don't care about the law in this particular instance. I don't care. I'm sick of waiting. You know, looking at what happened to Godot, 2 years, took over 2 years. This is not on, right? So we need to do some proactive disruption and mischief. And I'm suggesting this is a way to do proactive destruction, proactive mischief that actually could be quite fun. It's naughty, but it's nice. So I'm going to ask you to have a look at it, which is in the pack, as I mentioned below. So you can see, I'll take you through this now. Parental resistance to woke ideology in schools. This document was created by Barry Wall. Now, bear in mind that it's awful when you reference yourself in this way, but there may be people who see this who don't know who I am. Okay, so this document was created by Barry Wall, the seminar leader of the Winning Mindset Creating Warrior Teachers Program. This was designed to arm everyday folk like you with the knowledge, skills, and behaviors to successfully resist the infection of woke EDI, critical social justice, that has laid waste to our institution and predated on our children, particularly queer theory, gender ideology, trans, and all that nonsense. And then I've got a quote from me. Again, bear in mind, there'll be people who don't know me. Activism in the education space is sorely needed, and parents are the shock troops protecting their children. This has never been more important, and together with the existing warrior teachers, I present for your consideration this idea to help you play your part in identifying captured schools, head teachers, and teachers. This is so you can disrupt and push back in inventive ways against the dangerous creep of wokeism, EDI, DIE. To explore further, come and join us as a warrior teacher. It is open to all. In no way, it says in a big green box, is this material legal advice. This is presented for your consideration, and what you do with this is entirely your responsibility. Right, so I'm not interested in the law. This is just activism. This is designed to stir the pot and to make things difficult for these schools and these teachers and these head teachers. Yes, you heard it right. To make things difficult, exactly like they've done to every parent in the country. Okay? So parental rights, the Human Rights Act 1998, Article 2, Protocol 1, guarantees the right to education and respects parents' philosophical or religious convictions in how it is delivered. However, this right is not absolute, and courts have ruled that the state can prioritise a balanced curriculum over specific parental objections as long as education remains accessible and pluralistic. There's the word. In essence, you can teach an ideological viewpoint of any kind. Even the parents would be challenged on that request. The key word here is pluralistic, so let us define it. Now, bear in mind, as I've already said to you, I don't care about the law. I care about causing trouble. So in other words, this interpretation may be or maybe not lawful, but it's certainly the one that you're going to use as a parent to bother the school. Make sense? In education, pluralistic refers to an approach that embraces a variety of perspectives, beliefs, and values, ensuring no single ideology dominates. It is rooted in the idea of diversity of thought, which is the antithesis of concepts like EDI, DEI, wokeism, critical social justice, social emotional learning, belonging, well-being, neurodiversity, and the now infected term resilience. They're back with that, by the way. They've come back and renamed it resilience, which illustrates they will rebrand at will, so be alert to that, for they want their utopia. Schools should expose children to a range of viewpoints grounded firmly in the Enlightenment and values we have known for centuries, such as free speech, which that's a really important one. The right to be left alone. That's also a really important one. Equality of the sexes, family, merit, intelligence, learning, toleration, talent, and how to be productive as a human being, etc. These are the values that have given us so much. And whether we like it or not, we are a Christian-rooted country, and to not recognise that is to open us up to exactly what we are seeing now happen across society. In essence, we are in danger of losing the best civilization the world has ever seen, which comes from the very values that critical social justice attacks. Indoctrinating children in woke ideologies such as trans, LGBTQ+, queer theory, critical race theory, or neoliberal and neo-Marxist narratives, known collectively as critical social justice, in a pluralistic framework, would mean preventing any teacher from presenting these ideas as unquestionable truth. That's the idea of pluralism now. You understand? Pluralistic. I would argue that they are not worthy of inclusion in the debate in the first place. In other words, they shouldn't be being mentioned, let alone anything else. In fact, Critical social justice and its corporate arm, DEI, is a dogmatic, absolutist, and destructive force. In my view, a cult in all but name. Asking for this to be taught in a pluralistic manner is a fool's errand, for it does not want a seat at the table, it wants to upend the table itself. You are not comparing apples and oranges, you are comparing teaching with a sermon, for critical social justice is about the destruction of the West. In other words, to give critical social justice woke an equal footing with Western values is nonsense. We must enable the correct framing of these destructive beliefs as grievance-driven, anti-family, anti-white, anti-meritocracy, anti-reality, and anti-science beliefs, thus underpinning discussion and debate, firmly grounded in the values that have afforded us such success, such as those mentioned above. By placing critical social justice in its correct context, from the early indicators such as social contagion and cult behaviours, through to the end game of all victimhood grievance movements, violence and death, Maoism, Stalinism, Nazism, ISIS, they're all the same, they're all victimhood movements. We can also show how they have gone after children in an attempt to turn them into activists and create debate about how and why these ideas are adopted, proliferated, and of course, how we bring about their eradication. We now enter the realms of age appropriate, and it is my contention these are utterly inappropriate topics pre-13. And post-13 should be taught in relation to cult dynamics, social contagions, and mass psychosis, alongside other examples of the same, such as eugenics, the satanic child abuse panic, and the video nasties debacle, and how these contagions can lead to mass psychosis, and then atrocity. This framing sits alongside the values mentioned above and is a bulwark against cultural relativism and moral relativism. The suicidal empathy that ends in toleration of bodily mutilation, child marriage, murdering gay people by hanging, or women by stoning. By pretending we are not in ways a superior culture, or that our values and morals are not better than that, is societally insanity and suicidal empathy. Be careful that you do not capitulate and allow the relativism to creep in. As an example, sex is sex, biology is biology, and arguing against this is not an example of pluralism. It is an example of treating gender ideology as if it deserved any recognition other than as a social contagion and akin to other phenomena mentioned above. Again, it is not apples and oranges. Consider these examples. Imagine a lesson on history. A woke teacher might cover the empire's impacts, economic growth, cultural exchange, the spread of British innovation and technology, military successes and failures, but do so by placing a template of power and oppression narrative on top of these facts, thereby providing a gateway to woke and DEI-based topics that derive from that template, simplifying deeply complex historical events, laying the woke values matrix across them to encourage hate of the UK, its historical events, its achievements and successes, replacing this with grievance and crimes due to whiteness. The teacher is also unlikely to cover other empires, for they themselves are not about education, but ideology. Or perhaps in discussing that some people love men and some people love women, actual fact, God forbid, they will then use this as a gateway to lay the template of gender ideology, wokeism, and queer theory as the basis for exploring simple factual information, which they will complicate using the EDI-DIE woke template. When it comes to critical race theory, again, giving this totalitarian ideology the same footing as the success of the UK in relation to our own plurality and history is to give it more weight than it deserves or warrants. So once again, we start with the social contagion of CRT, as in the BLM debacle that so many fell for, as the topic focus, and that's what will be the focus, rather than the CRT ideology itself being open to critique as a cult-like behaviour. Remember, the woke will place this template across all subjects, not just PSHE or RSHE, all of them. Below is an example letter that you may find useful to alter and use as you see fit. And then there's another quote from me. Mass resistance in and through education is now the only way forward in the 20th century for the vast majority of us, and you need to become part of that. If you would like to explore these topics further, come and be a warrior teacher. Right, now, then I've got the example letter, which you need to have a look at so you can understand it. So I'm going to put it in the oh bugger. pack, and also I'll try and make it into images and put it onto Twitter. That's a bit more difficult, but I'll do that, I think, right? And this talks about how you explicitly forbid whatever your teacher's intending to do. It offers examples of bad books, and then really does give a very, very disrupting narrative to the head or to the teacher that says, you aren't doing this without talking about it with me. And then there's an NB at the moment. I would add, if this has happened, i.e. if this is going on and you were going to send this letter, I will consider private actions against individual teachers in the head, but I will await your views on that. I think it is time to take action against individuals. But again, I'll await your view. Now, that's the first part. Okay, so that's the first part, which is the letter if you want to use it. Remember, this is not about the law. Forget the law. This is disruption. You are disrupting their narrative in totality and bringing the whole thing into perspective so that the discussions can be had. It is absolutely vital we get this to as many parents as we can. You'll need to alter the letter for yourself, but feel free to use the bulk of it. If they come screaming at me that I've done it, I'm more than happy to field that. And then we've got the Not My Future project, which again, I'll take you through here. The Not My Future project is an activist and disruptive undertaking that was sparked by a conversation on Twitter and built on top of the already existing woke bingo cards. That's what I showed you at the beginning. Now, this idea is beautifully simple. You as a parent will learn a list of words with your children. And if these words come up in school, the child reports back, either as soon as possible by technology or in person when it comes to the older children. This is then your call to action. Beware making too big a thing of it, for they will spend their time trying to spot it instead of actually learning. So you've got to keep it light touch, okay? Then we've got, as you can see, the logo there. Then we've got words for age 8 to 11. These 10 words or phrases could tell your 8-year-old to listen for in school that might indicate the presence of the ideologies or narratives you mentioned, keeping it simple and age appropriate, right? So privilege, oppression, equity, gender, identity, you can see them there. Then there's words for age 13 to 11, right? And then there's words 13 and up, okay? And then at the bottom I put here, which you can't see, don't blame me if you bugger it up. Right, okay? So there we go. I'll put it in the pack. I do hope that you'll become part of this because it's going to be fun. I want to see how quickly we can disrupt this narrative in schools. And I think this is a really simplistic way to do it. But you tell me, remember, your responsibility, nothing to do with me. I don't know anything about that. Other than that, Warrior Teacher starting in April. If you really want to get to grips with this stuff, come and join the rest of us. We have a ball. And the stuff we discuss, you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. Come and join us this April. Yeah, links are, in the things. I'll see you later. I hope this is useful. You let me know, all right? Bye-bye, everybody.